Peace and power. We are back.
Mhm.
Come on in, everybody. We back. We back. We didn't mean to stay gone a long time. It's just we both had a lot going on. The floors. Lisa and her business. She was handling traveling, and so yeah, we just had to put it on the shelf for a little while. We hope y'all didn't read ahead without us. It's not the same. A couple of you reached out, inquiring, when we're gonna pick back up. So we just want to say we appreciate y'all. We appreciate your patience. We're gonna get right back into it. I am Nina. For those that this may cross that has never been on the platform, my platform is Styles by Nina. It's my business, and we create. That's what we do over here. Anything from body, hair, and skin products to documents. Yeah, we done got into document creation, and so the brand is being what do they call it, revamped, and so we're going more into the financial. We're going more into the financial verse, I'll say. Um, And I got a lot of new stuff coming. We're still gonna do the body products and stuff. Y'all know how y'all can place y'all order. Go to the link tree on go to the link tree. Pharaoh. Hold on. What? Don't shoot no BB gun at them people, dog. Okay. Sorry, y'all.
Had to answer that question.
That was fair, but yeah, we're taking the business in a new direction. We hoping y'all will grow and evolve with us. And if not, welcome to the new people. We know we're getting into new things. Everything evolves. Anything that stays the same is not growing. And so we're growing over here. The platform will be changing soon. Y'all will see. And we're gonna keep Styles by Nina videos and all the information here, but the name will change. I have to work on new platform art for my platform, and I'm gonna do a professional photo shoot this time around. The selfies and all that is cool, but in the financial industry, they like you to be polished, and so that's the growth. It's like you have to learn more so how to deal in the public, and when it comes to business, people want to see something polished. We are visual beings first. You see people and things with your eyes first. And so I just appreciate everybody that is hanging in there. And y'all, I know y'all don't place orders, and I just haven't gotten around to it. And I feel bad, but I don't. I am just in a different space. And so I haven't had time to create anything body or herbal tonics or anything. But when I do, those of you that have ordered and have not received the invoice or anything, I'm just gonna mail you your stuff, and it's on me just for still supporting or trying to support and being patient. Cause I know y'all been asking for that oil of oregano. It's coming. It's coming. I got a fresh batch that I started maybe a couple of months ago. And so I'm gonna continue. Like I say, when I batch it up, I'm just gonna mail it out. I've been looking for container tops for the longest. And so it just got put on the back burner. So I appreciate everybody's patience. And again, hit the link tree, support on whatever platforms you be on. We're on Twitter, we on Instagram, we're on here on YouTube. Just support. And support could be just you coming. Don't forget to share, like, subscribe to both of our channels, and comment. That keeps us our videos popping up in the suggestions. And so welcome to the new people. Welcome back to everybody that's been here. We're on chapter 15 today. Lisa, you gonna introduce yourself? Reintroduce?
Yes. Welcome everybody to no, that didn't even come out right. But anyway, I would like to welcome everybody to our platform, reading this book with us. My name is Lisa. Platform is Lisa 3 Mac or Apples Forever Since. I am a creator. I do create candles to order, something that I am very passionate about. And when I do create my candles, I create it to the best of my ability. Um, I don't know. It's just so much things that I want to say, but I will be short and to the point. Um, this book that we are currently reading, Awakening the Masculine, we are trying to reach as many men as possible because our men do need healing. So if you do know, a man that's in your life, your brother, your cousin, uncle, whomever it may be, if you can definitely share this with them, because we are trying to reach as many men as we can by the end of this year. And as you all know, we already are on December 11th. So we don't have too much time to go. And we do apologize for, taking that short break, but we did have things that we had to take care of during that time. So we are back, and we are going to finish this book before the end of the year. So definitely like, comment, and share. And I'm glad that everybody is here with us. Welcome.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. And so the book we are referring to is Awakening the Masculine, the Divine Masculine. And we are on chapter 15, which is the blueprint for success. And just making sure we don't have no charts so I can get them done. We don't.
Nope.
Okay. Y'all, we almost got through this book. Yeah, the next chapter is a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna get this thing wrapped up. We're almost done with this book. Um, and are we gonna keep reading? Yes. It just won't be as often because me and Lisa are working on some things in the background that have taken, first priority. And so I'm gonna try to keep having y'all some content coming. You will have to go over to Katie's Alchemy to get in on the book, Be Your Own Bank. I don't know if I released the videos, but I have been reading that book in the background and just storing it up for y'all for the times where I'm not putting out as much content. And I find a way to get it on this channel as well. I don't want to leave my supporters of Styles by Nina out in the cold. It's just I have evolved and I'm not studying the laws of the land and the tribes and the culture anymore. It's more so trying to be in a private status and moving forward in the background versus because we already know the history. We don't went through it. This
Mm-hmm.
is over 8 years of content, and I'm pretty sure y'all haven't seen every video. So just go in the archive, pick one out, and learn something. We have plenty of historical support for us being here. We went over a lot of the laws, a lot of biblical content when we were studying the oldest versions of the Bibles, which is what I still have. It was written in a whole different language. All the information is there. And so if you are uncertain where to start, just go all the way back in the archive and just pick something. You can learn something new every day. All the videos I was doing at first were only 15 minutes at a time. And so you can go there and not just be, it's not like I'm a documentary platform. Most of my videos in the beginning were 15 minutes because I remember I had a platform I was using and I didn't want to pay, and they only let you record for 15 minutes. So I had buku videos. That's how I got all the videos. But just pick one. I'm pretty sure you can learn something in every video. The culture is important, but we can't stay in the history. We have to get now in the present and look towards the future so that our seeds will benefit and their seed will benefit. And so a lot of people now I see it's good you're studying history. Don't forget the genealogy. There's genealogy videos on my platform too of what you need to do, exactly where to go and how to get into that. But once you know who you are, then we have to shift over in how do we benefit from that, because we can't stay stuck in just knowing.
Hmm.
The application of knowledge, that's what wisdom is, and so you have to apply it in your lifestyle. And so that's the transformation we're going through. Y'all don't be mad at me, and I'm gonna apologize one more time. The forex, the crypto class is still gonna happen. I don't want y'all to think I just have not. I started back contracting, which is taking up a lot of time during the day, and I have not found a day where we can get on there and start the crypto class over again. It's been updated, it's new information in it, so we got to look at it. We all, me and Lisa, have been through it 2, 3 times, and still don't really fully understand the crypto and all.
Hmm. It's a
But
lot. It's a lot. And
right,
I tell y'all better jump on it because 23 is going to be different. And I would hate to see a whole lot of people out there left behind. So
yeah,
definitely jump on it because a lot of things is going to change.
yeah, and so we are gonna get back into it. I wanted to do it before the year's out, but like I say, something else has taken top priority, and so whenever I can find a space for it, I've been collecting emails. I tell people about it. They shoot me the email. I'm gonna put it all on the email list, and we're gonna start that class, and we'll give it to we'll say January. Just give me some time. Just give me some time. It's a lot, but the classes are very short, straight to the point. It's not a long class. It's jam packed with information, and so now that it's been updated, you get the new updates plus just getting your feet wet with the crypto. And so
Hmm.
we're gonna get it started, y'all. I'm sorry, I've been saying it now for like 6 months. I'm trying, but we got a lot going on. We got a lot going on. Me and Lisa both been going through renovations and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
so it just takes the back seat. And anything else that I supposed to be bringing y'all, put it in the comments because I'll be forgetting. I'll be on here talking, and when I get up from this computer, it's like the last thing on my mind. And so, remind me, hold me accountable for my words. Okay, sex fine. We are blocking you from the chat. Let me go on and block you. Block the user. Yeah, I'm gonna need you to stop. Don't come over here advertising no sex, nothing. Okay.
Right. We don't do that. Not here.
Right. Okay, so we on chapter 15. You want to start or
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start.
okay?
The blueprint for success. How to win at relationships, intimacy, business, life, and dreams. Be who you were intended to be. Perhaps the most important step on the path to success is to remain true to one's original self. Try to align to your original purpose by discovering your incarnation objective. In this way, you will discover your longing in life, the thing which really makes you happy. Do that. Be that. Recognize your counterfeit persona, define it, measure it. Your CP is what has been blocking your true progress all your life. Dismantle it. Stop bowing down to it. Now, who to listen to? Stop following people who have no right to lead you. That right there is so strong. I need to repeat that again. It says, stop following people who have no right to lead you. Know their intent by the history, not by what they say. Avoid the herd mentality. Follow those who have reached the destination you seek to reach, not those who are still searching like you. A degree or fame is no history. Only experience itself is true. Only listen to those who have achieved the thing they seek to teach about. Just because a person wrote a book does not mean they are an expert. What are their achievements? Do not even listen to such people. Secondly, seek out and follow those people who have demonstrated a history of achievement. They will not come to you. Most of the people selling and promoting themselves offer worthless information. Align yourself with people who have proved their worth early in life, and you will enjoy good fortune. Remain teachable, be willing to change. I have forgotten more than most people will learn in one life. The more I learn, the more humble I become, for it shows just how much I still do not know. Do not become fixed. The master has failed 10 times, more than the novice has tried. Do not be afraid to fail. The cure for failure is to remain teachable. Oh, that's so true. Practice the abundance model. Live according to the abundance model. Live according to the abundance model. It is the only natural model. Reject the scarcity model. Seek prosperity and abundance for yourself, but also for others. Avoid price gorging. Be willing to pay for quality. Reward good service. Expect the best. You know what, Nina? Seek prosperity and abundance for yourself, but also for others.
Mm-hmm.
That's powerful. And I must say here that I definitely commend you because that's something that you say each and every day.
Thank you.
And that means a lot because you never know what people are going through. You know,
Mm-hmm.
those words that you say are they're longing, you know?
Yeah.
So definitely I want to say thank you.
You're welcome.
Follow the main code in integrity. Mankind is meant to live in tribes. Find your tribe and join it. Construct the union of men, your brothers. Live then in personal integrity by following the code of the superior man. Do this even before you become a superior man. This is the shortest road to your development. When a group of men follow the code and honor each other, nothing feeds the soul so well. Marry the right woman. Most of the public hide their real persona and presents a, a facade instead to others. Study the signs in this book and learn to see through all guile and mask. If a woman is unwilling to show you her true face, she is not willing to be true in other things. She will not act true. She will not harbor pure intent. Avoid this. Above all things, seek an authentic woman who will hold your heart in truth and love. Nina, what do you think about that, what I just read?
Girl, you read my mind. I was unmuting.
Oh, girl, mm-mm.
Um, for me, that's what I'm practicing now. Like instead of when I meet people acting like I'm more into what they're interested in. Like one of Rachel was saying how when she meet a man, she let him talk. I'm practicing now. Don't do that because then you lose your voice and they expect you to be quiet during the relationship. When in fact you was just holding a space to get to know him. You just taking it all in, but it's still one of those things like a counterfeit personality because you're not being your true self. If you are naturally a talker, you can't let somebody come into your personal space and then they leading with that. And so now when I'm meeting people, I make sure, even though I'm still asking questions, I answer to them the answer to the questions for me. Like if I say, "What's your favorite color?" and you answer, but you don't ask me back, I let you know, well, my favorite
Mm-hmm.
color is green. Because if I don't let you know now, and you don't know to ask, it's just like we're not exchanging energy. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking on all your energy, And I see it happening in a lot of relationships. We as women take on a lot, and then we're never really given the same space or capacity. Because they
Mm-hmm.
always say behind every good man is a strong woman. Yes, but we are tired of being strong. And so in that, and I use that example, I met somebody and then he just talking. And so one of the first things saying like, your mouth, you gotta control this. And it's like, no, I don't. That's a red flag for me because if I can't show up authentically myself in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
and you giving pushback on that, it ain't really then we gotta talk about after all that. Like, no, I'm not quiet. And I used to do that in all my relationships. Just be trying to be ladylike and quiet because that's what they teach you in the church. In a woman, a rowdy woman is like a leaking roof. Over time, it causes damage. All this old, no,
Yeah.
no. And so, just trying to show up authentically when I meet whoever, because in that, then you can't say, "Well, I didn't know." Well, I didn't know. Later on, well, I didn't know. Some people never know the other person's favorite color. It's just very odd. But we as women, we ask because we're very detailed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, marry the right woman, and them not. And I'm talking about on different levels. That's just personal to me, but I'm just thinking about all the makeup everybody's wearing. It says if she would never show her real face, her true face,
Mm-hmm.
then she is not willing to be true in other things, and that's true. If you're not willing to show your true self, makeup aside, then you're never gonna be authentic in that relationship. And that's what I see a lot going on. Like us getting into relationships and they're never fully authentic from the jump.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of women going into relationships from a place of trying to heal the other person. And I guess men do it too. I don't know. I'm not a man. We don't.
Right.
So I don't know. But I know me. I'm a Cancer rising, which means the capacity, the capacity to heal. And so I'm learning, yeah, it's not your job to heal everybody. And so
Mm-hmm.
you shouldn't be looking at a person like, oh, well, you can add to that person. It goes back, because your woman is gonna be holding you down, but going into it about the type of person a person would be if y'all got together, that's just not a good way to go in. And so I'm just thinking, and then it says she would not harbor pure intent. And I don't know. I don't know if that had something to do with the makeup or she would not act true. I don't know. Because I don't know if he's saying your true face about like who she is on the inside, or is he saying like her true face? Because we have both in society today.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I think,
Oh, yeah.
well, of course, I would want to show up authentic.
Yeah.
Um, because like if you don't show up authentic, you never know who you're getting. I mean, I can use an example. One time I met this guy, and of course, it's always good to ask questions. So I asked a lot of questions because I wanted to know everything, because I don't want to waste my time,
Right.
right? So I asked a lot of questions, and he answered every last one of them,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't get that. So it's okay for me to sit here and answer ask you questions about you because I'm trying to get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not getting no questions back.
Right.
That's telling me, that's telling me that you're not interested in knowing me.
Exactly.
So why am I going to sit here and waste my time
Mm-hmm.
in asking you any more questions? Because if you're interested in me, then
You
you're going
want to
to
know.
ask me questions because you want to
Mm-hmm.
know about me.
Right. Right.
So after
Right.
that date, that was the last date.
Yeah.
Because that first date is very important.
Mm-hmm.
you know and hey, that hmm. That's done and over with.
That's
But
true. That's true. And that's why I say we go in and we holding that space of like you said, we ask out. And some guys even think that that's a red flag. You asking questions. It's like no, I'm trying to calculate. Do I waste my time with you?
yeah,
Period. Period.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like I've recently run. It's like yeah, I'm gonna ask questions. How will I know if I don't? Do I go home and have to guess my way through it? No, I'm not gonna do that.
No, we're not doing that.
No,
Mm-mm,
no.
mm-mm,
I'm not a mind reader.
mm-hmm.
I would rather just ask while we're here.
That's right, and you're supposed to, because if you don't ask now, then you're always gonna, you know, think like, okay, should I ask this question?
Hmm.
Is he gonna get mad if I ask this question? No,
Hmm.
we're not doing that. No, we
Yeah,
ain't doing that. No.
yeah. And it is an interview process. When you go into a partnership with a business, they ask you all these interview questions. It's the same thing if you going into partnership with a person. There
Mm-hmm.
are going to be prerequisites and questions.
That's right.
It's just you're not talking salary, you're talking time. That's the most precious commodity, something you will never get back.
That's
And
right.
so yeah, most definitely.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I just had to touch on that for a minute. All right. Change your boundaries. There are secrets hidden in plain sight. Wow. It starts off powerful. Your personal boundaries are such secrets. They are hidden from you. You believe you have chosen things which in truth were chosen for you. This is true for you. Your father and your grandfather break this cycle of illusion. Is your career what you truly wish to do? Or is your employment a task given to you? Does your religion truly bring you closer to God inside? Or does it serve the institution? Who profits? Who grows? Do your boundaries serve you? Or do they always require you to pay and for you to serve them? Do you hate other groups, other nations, other religions who have done nothing to you? Why? What does it profit you? In serving your boundaries, do you violate your original purpose? Can you live in honor by the code of men? Stay in your lane. Learn to follow and lead. It is a noble endeavor for a man to follow if he knows who to listen to. Likewise, in your field of excellence, take charge and command those who are below your level. It is for their benefit as well as yours. The father does not follow an infant child, but leads him or her. In your home, assert yourself and direct your wife according to the house of the man. But also know that in her fields of knowing, she is superior to you, and you then in turn must follow her. Lead, follow, or get out of the way. Do not allow your ego of inferior man to cause you obstruct your own path. Stay in your lane. I got to go back and read something again. I just need to repeat that. Let's see, where is it? Okay, here it is. But also know that in her fields of knowing, she is superior to you, and you then in turn must follow her. What do you think about that?
So he's saying the father does not follow an infant child, but leads him or her in your home. Assert yourself and direct your wife according to the house of the man. But also know that in her fields of knowing, she is superior to you. And I just feel like this is the reason a lot of relationships fall apart
Mm-hmm.
because the men don't. It's just like because the Christianity teaches a woman being inferior
Mm-hmm.
and that the man should lead and blah blah blah. But we all have known for generation. Women have intuition that the man will never have. And
Hmm.
so in the knowing, that has turned into a power struggle.
Right. It has. It has. It has. I mean, the men, yes, they're out there, they're doing their thing, but just like he just stated, that in the end, the female is a superior. She is holding down everything. Yes, granted, you do go out every day, you go to work, you pay the bills, you provide for the family. But at the end of the day, the woman is the person that keeps the family together.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel as though that's what the men need to truly understand. They're appreciated by all means,
Then
but
he say, in that you must follow her. And then he say, lead, follow, or get out the way.
right,
Because
that's
one thing about a female, they persistent.
right.
They they'll get you on out the way. We don't have no
Mm-hmm.
problem with that.
Yep.
Because we don't want resistance. We want that security, but we also want a voice in the matter.
Mm-hmm.
And so a lot of men don't listen to their women.
No, they don't,
And so
and that's the issue. That's
and
the
it,
issue.
he said, do not allow your ego of inferior man to cause you to obstruct your own path.
Own path. That's
You
right.
gotta stay in your lane.
Right.
That's your lane.
Right. Okay. The abundance model. Nature is based on a model of abundance. There are enough people that everyone can have an attractive, healthy, loving mate. There is plenty of food to eat. Humans throw away food, although it is so abundant. And if the natural way was followed, the agriculture modified, twice as much food could easily be produced. There is an abundance of housing, but the land and production is owned by the banks. Uh, but the land and production is owned by the banks. There is an abundance of energy. The energy from the sun cannot be exhausted. The wind will never stop. There is an abundance of fish and animals and plants. At least there was until man corrupted the ecosystem. Scarcity is created by man due to the greed of a few and the ignorance of the many. Food used to be free. You hunted and gathered it. You did not pay for it. At some point, it became a vehicle of trade. The banks did not build it. Governments prevent the building of homes now without a permit. All things require permits and licenses now. The government that issues such things are owned and controlled by the elite few who desire to restrict and create scarcity. There are only a few nations who are not so controlled. All of the highly developed nations are owned and managed from the outside. It always starts with two things. It starts with excess taxes and the accumulation of large tracts of land into the hands of a very few. From the land, it spreads to banks, and from there, it gradually spreads to every corner of trade and art until scarcity is everywhere and the common man accepts it as normal. When you see the majority of the leaders have become corrupt, you know that scarcity is behind it and the infection is deep. When even the institutions of law assigned to control the greed and crime have themselves fallen victim to this plague, you know the scarcity minions have gained the upper hand. When the common people become infected, the parasite has reached the limit. Scarcity is created by man due to the greed of a few and the ignorance of the many. It is war, political oppression, racial oppression, and governments that create scarcity. Scarcity does not exist naturally. You have to create it. The fashion industry thrives off vanity, low self esteem, and romance. The car industry designs cars to break down and burn a lot of fuel. It sells parts and promotes the oil business. They spend millions to change the style of cars every year so that you will spend billions because your 2-year-old car is obsolete. The planned lifespan of a personal computer, series, cell phone, software, video device, or DVD, or electronic internet device is no more than 2 years. Business people actually sit down in a room and try to figure out how to make their products obsolete in the desired time span. However, there is more to this dynamic than just the economic and political scheme. The natural blueprint is abundance. The quality of life is tied to this. Happiness is tied to this. Know that when the scarcity model is ingrained in a large society, that there are then non-human entities present. The scarcity model provides short-term power to the parasites who employ it. But to live this way, the elite must kill the host. It is not just the resources that are imbalanced, it is energy as well. And it's a shame because they do say all this 2 years. A lot of things is obsolete in 2 years. So every time you get that, it's time to upgrade, it's time to upgrade, it's time to upgrade. They do that, so we have to spend money to get new products.
Or I said, I had a homegirl growing up, and she was a straight consumer. Every year, she had to have a new car. And I just started saying, well, let me buy your old one. Since you gonna trade it out here, let me buy it. Because I will keep it, okay? But yeah, it's part of being a corporate slave.
Yeah.
They know that you're gonna spend and consume and consume and consume.
And
And
do they realize?
so
I want people to just know that it's a business.
mhm,
You know, that's the key
mhm.
word right there, business. I don't know. Okay. People resonate with a negative energy and they then begin to create little scarcity models of their own. Then things really become complex and malignant. And so we find a situation today. Women promote the scarcity model by creating a class of men who are non select. The proper action is to identify a class of men who are underdeveloped. Work on ways to encourage these men to finish their development. Do this in a way that validates the male instead of destroying his self esteem. Once the scarcity model is in effect, sex becomes money. The boundary and borders separating the two energies gradually erodes. You begin more and more to see the most attractive females with men of wealth. Male virtues mean less and less. And one day she looks up and there are no men of virtue near. Today, many women feel lost. They feel out of place and disconnected. They had lived their life that society has crafted for them. They dressed the way they were supposed to, act the way they thought was proper, tried to do the expected thing, and sought with great effort to share love with someone. But they lived the scarcity model. In a circle, the energy of scarcity comes full around and back to them. It seems that mating should be so easy, but They have guaranteed just the opposite. The scarcity model never, never, never has a happy ending. Did you hear that in the beginning?
Yep.
Say many women feel lost. They feel out of place and disconnected.
Mm-hmm.
And that's so true. And I think if our men talk to us more, I think it would be different. Like it has to be equal.
It does. And then we have been taught to pour into our partner as a woman,
Right.
but there's never been any teaching to the men to pour back, to
Mm-hmm.
pour that we need to be poured into too. And what it make me go back to that chapter we read that said, if you're not pouring into her,
Mm-hmm.
then that's off balance. Like who else is gonna pour into her?
Right.
It even went into how it's really a deadly thing for that woman to be taking care of the household and nobody ever pouring back into her. Cause then she's just a shell. She's just
Mm-hmm.
going through the motions, and even in divorce, men tend to think, "Oh, one day she just changed." No, this was a build up over time.
Right. That's
It's
right.
so many women that feel lonely in their marriage,
Mm-hmm.
and they stay married for years, just sucking it up. And sadly, I have a bunch of married friends, and this often comes up. Um, you feel lonely, misunderstood. You're constantly evolving, but most of the time playing yourself down because you don't want to ruffle the feathers or
Mm-hmm.
hurt the ego in
Mm-hmm.
the relationship, and it all wears on you.
Yeah.
Um, your voice is often silenced
Yeah. Yeah.
because if you can't prove what you're feeling, men deal in logic. So if you can't prove it,
Mm-hmm.
they totally lost as to what you're talking about, and it just turns into a parasitic situation. I don't care who it's for.
Yeah.
And a lot of women self-sacrifice. I know plenty just to stay married. They don't in the public. They don't want nobody seeing them breaking all that down, so they stay. And so,
And I think that's when they put on that face. That's when they show up not authentic. Okay.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
that's definitely a problem. You
yeah,
know, because if we can be authentic in other times, but then other times we are silent, we are not being our true selves. And a lot of men, they really need to understand that, you know, when we pour into them, they have to give it back to us,
mm-hmm,
you know, because it has to be balanced some type of way. And
mm-hmm,
it can't be balanced if I'm going to give it to you, but you can't give it back,
mm-hmm,
you know, and we have to communicate because a lot of communication is not there. You know, you have the woman sitting up there communicating where the man, you know, oh, I'm paying the bills or whatever the case may be, and boop, I'm out the door. And especially
mm-hmm,
when you got kids,
mm-hmm.
you know, you leave it to the woman to do everything.
Everything, and I can personally speak to that, and also like I say, the self-sacrificing, because it's just like we're expected to say less.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you're saying too much, then you've been taught biblically that that's just like and I think the scripture it referenced a tin roof, like the rain tapping on the roof over time.
Mm-hmm.
That becomes annoying, but it's to me, it just goes to show it was rewritten somewhere along the line, because why would you even show a woman in that light to say, well, she's being vocal over time? It's like a 10, it gets annoying. That's what it's pointing to for women being vocal. That's unhealthy. And we
Mm-hmm.
all were raised in Christianity. And so certain stuff, and I was having a conversation with my homegirl last night, and it's just certain stuff, if we do it as a woman, baby, you finna get a scarlet letter to put on all your shirts. You know, it's looked down upon, but it's okay for the men to do it. And it's like, I don't subscribe to that. I'm a good. What's good for the goose is good for the gander. Yeah, you finna get the smoke. And so I'm not talking about being aggressive with a man, but just we have to speak out and be more vocal. Hey, Tiara girl.
Right, right. Yeah, and you know what? Before you go ahead, and I definitely been there, done that. I was in a relationship where, I did have a voice. I had a voice. And then as time went by, my voice was silenced, and it was silenced due to, um, yelling and just a lot of things that I really don't want to speak on, but I've been there, and after that relationship, I said I'll never let another man silence my voice because it's my voice. Just
Right,
like you can talk and you want me to listen, I can
right,
talk too.
right.
So yeah,
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's looked at as unladylike or a masculine woman if
right.
you're direct in your communication. And that's why I say this go round from the jump, I
Yeah,
have to show up authentically because I don't want to be oppressed at any point in our connection to where when the real me come out, it's unrecognizable to you. You
hmm
withdraw because you didn't know that that's me. You know, that's the real me.
that's right.
And we show up when we're in these relationships, we generally showing up inauthentic, that counterfeit personality. Some people say it's a pick me, to where you're just trying to be so ladylike and so soft and trying to attract, but you're not focusing on the long haul.
Right,
What does it look like when the real you is busting out from the scenes? You can't hold it in no more.
right.
You got
Right.
something to say, and then it's just like then you reject it.
Yeah,
And so yeah, I experienced that in my own personal relationship. Would I do that again? No. I'm gonna have to show up authentically the first time so you can know what you're getting.
that's right.
Yeah. So
That's right, girl. We going through this together. So,
right, right.
and reading this book definitely it's healing. It is healing because
Yeah,
we're speaking about our experiences, you
right,
know,
right,
and we don't know, it might touch another female that's pretty much going through the same thing and didn't have anybody to talk to. So,
right,
you
right.
know,
And we do. I mean, people hit us up privately and commend us for even reading these books, but most part sharing our own personal stories.
yeah,
You just never know how your story can heal somebody else. And so, yeah.
yeah. All right, I'm trying to now. I done lost. Look, I done lost. Okay, here we go. Some men play relationship game. Up. What did I just say? Hold up. It said some men play relationship games. Oh my gosh, that's a word all by itself. Okay. Some men play relationship games as part of their strategy to get what they want. They see the emotional baggage many women carry more than they see the potential that is there. And in the quest to complete their strategy, there is often a good deal of lies told, masks worn, and promises broken. These men have joined in the scarcity model. It is the old sinister game of supply and demand. When a man discovers that he has what a woman wants and needs, he makes it too hard for her to get it. But in a circle, it will come full around to bite him in the ass. Excuse my language. But after practicing the scarcity model for a time, a man wakes up to find the emotional landscape has changed. His scarcity has become a place of divorce, infidelity, abuse, being alone, rejection, fear, and frustration. This is sexual disease all about, and happiness is always just out of his reach. Every healer must understand this dynamic, for it is at the root of so much evil. You may believe you are fixing something, but you are just putting a band aid on a symptom. The root cancer is still there. The reason the scarcity model causes so much pain and discord is because it forces people to live in a way that is antagonistic to nature. Nature is abundance. To cure it, you have only to return things to their natural path, the natural blueprint. Like magic, the parasites are killed and the infected parties can recover. And this is powerful therapy indeed. The sun shines on the earth in abundance. There is water upon the planter in great abundance in oceans and rivers. Rain falls in pattern as is needed for that particular place. Some earth is dry, some is wet, and some is in between. Animals thrive in abundance if left alone. Plants will grow all by themselves, and the ecosystem will sustain itself. There is a balance, and within this balance, all things can eat and survive. If one species expands too much, the natural order will hold it in check. Man, too, has a blueprint for human life. From birth, he is designed to eat a certain way. These foods naturally grow where he is. In the abundance model, there is happiness in abundance. Most importantly, there is time to plenty. Women. Most importantly, there is time, a plenty to enjoy life. These words are words of truth. These words are words of power. Know them in your highest heart.
Okay, so I'm gonna pick up, but I was just thinking about what you just said because I be telling people this all the time. Just because you're eating a diet that's being pushed or promoted doesn't mean that it's right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, when growing up, we didn't eat all these random things. Like I say, in Georgia, it wasn't no kale. You can go South Georgia and see collard greens growing, fields and fields of collard greens. But this kale stuff is something new. This isn't nothing that was naturally around for hundreds of years. And so everything's being pushed to remodel or modify your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep that in mind, even with the seafood. I
Mm-hmm.
grew up when uncles and stuff that went fishing. You didn't eat all these different types of fish. You ate the fish that was in the water where you
That's right.
stayed.
That's right.
It's even the land. Everything don't grow everywhere. So almonds, most of the almonds are coming out of California, which is known to be sprayed with all this stuff. So they push an almond milk and all this, but wherever it doesn't grow naturally, you're not supposed to be eating it for
Mm-hmm.
your phenotype.
Mm-hmm.
Food and what you need grows where you live. The land picks up on your vibration, just like with the herb. You'll see random wild herbs growing in your yard, and what it is the land. When you connect with that land where you stay, the herbs that your body need will grow in your yard. It's as simple as that. You don't go to the international market and you buy all these random things because they look pretty to post. These are things that are not even made for your DNA. And we can taste them. There's nothing wrong with
Mm-hmm.
experiencing.
Right.
But to say that this is a specific diet that you're supposed to follow, that's not true. That's why the deer overrun the land. This is a game meat that you're supposed to be eating. That's what it's there for. They don't, the deer didn't just get, they didn't just show up randomly. This is what we ate. Deer. There's a vegetarian pig in Georgia. They always talk about the pig and how it's so nasty. But there's a species of pig in Georgia that is vegetarian.
Really?
So yeah, it's naturally that's its natural habitat. It only eat vegetables. So it's just like all these agendas being pushed.
Mm-hmm.
And people be like, oh, I don't see how people eat this and people eat that. Our ancestors ate a lot of stuff. It's cultures in Florida still to this day that eat hog nuts. It's good for stamina.
Mm.
And so our ancestors knew that when they started eating chicken feet, they were eating it for the collagen. It's good for your skin. And we turn our nose up at a lot of stuff, but we don't study culture. And
Mhm.
that's the problem. Like we have adapted Western culture, and whatever the TV is pushing at the time, we hop
Yeah.
on and run with it. It's like,
Yeah.
no.
And that's true. That is true. I know my family, like yours, they went fishing, they went hunting, and that's how we ate. They had um, gardens, so and Nina does. We have a garden class too that we recently did, and I'm gonna tell you, it's a lot of things that I did learn how to grow this season. And speaking of kale, oh, I got a whole lot of kale back here, girl.
Ooh.
But anyway, yeah, and you're absolutely right. It's a lot of things that you know we have to definitely get back to.
Yeah. And you don't have to eat it all the time. But I just look back at when my granddad used to go hunting and he bring in a wild boar, you assume that this pig ate everything. All pigs don't eat everything, just like all people don't eat everything.
Yeah,
It's biased thinking. And then it turned into status because it's like, oh, if you eat meat, people looking down at you. Now people ain't even posting meat no more. They're just gonna post the vegetables and eat the meat in the background. It's a hot mess.
girl, what for real,
Yeah,
man?
yeah.
Yeah,
Because I
people.
used to post my food pictures all the time, and then it's like the vegan Nazis, they come through and they hating. It's just like, yeah, unless you minding your business, I ain't paying you to mind mine. And so,
Right.
speaking of that, I am a Venus and Libra, so I will be starting a food um blog because when I go out and I'm gonna find the best and the finest,
I know that's
and I want it to look good on the plate. I need you to know plating,
right.
and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm gonna do that. But just in general, you eat what grows where you are. Just like out here in Texas, this is a state. They have a lot of beautiful cows. And I'm talking about longhorns, big, beautiful horns. They take good care of their animals. And
Yeah.
so you can't push veganism here. It'll never work. These people raising their own cows and they are going to the rodeo shows and stuff like that and winning awards. And so that's the thing. It's like because when you raise it yourself, you know what it's eating,
Right.
and you come out better going and picking you a cow to get slaughtered than going to the grocery store. That's
Mm-hmm.
the stuff they shooting up with all these injections and they making a crossbreed of a cow and a pig. And now the newest thing is Agnes meat. Where did this come from?
Right.
Agnes.
Yeah.
This is the new, and every restaurant is adapting to. We don't even know what we eat.
Yep. Yep.
What is an Agnes? Where was it 100 years ago? It was
Right.
non-existent.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
That's
um,
definitely true.
but yeah, that's what it made me think about. So we're gonna pick up on, and I'm gonna say that one more time. In the abundance model, there is happiness in abundance. That's
Right.
why I send out my abundance text every morning. I don't care what kind of day I'm having. Yeah, I'm speaking abundance. I know
Mhm.
it's coming, and so there's happiness there. And this is the time to. He said, more importantly, there is a time. There is time, a plenty to enjoy life. Yeah, these are words of truth.
Yep.
So yeah, I like that part. Okay, so basic tools for masculine development. To begin, we will outline some basic tools any man will need to navigate the path to manhood. In taking a practical approach, we will assume that once a male reaches maturity, he is going to be okay. But what about the months or years in between while he is seeking to complete the transaction from the juvenile state to having all four archetypes fully online and functioning? There are some tools so basic that he needs to obtain these right away. In other words, even while he is in the process of awakening his master masculine facility to bring his dormant male energies online, he will need certain basic tools. They are deemed critical. So here is a list of 5 of those critical things a man needs. And as we move through the chapters, the reason I have listed these things will become more and more obvious. Every man on the path needs a small library of books about being a man to be his self operating manual. No more than 6 or 7 books. This book should be one of them. There should be a book about sex. There should be a book about making money. Every man on the path needs an actualized circle of superior men. You need your actualized gang, posse, and buddies. Every man on the path needs a means or a system of making money that is a source of passive income. That is money coming in, even small amounts, which does not require him to work to earn it. Every man on the path needs to achieve the ability to retain his seed during sex. In other words, to achieve orgasm without ejaculation. This
What?
is a paramount. You said what?
I said, what?
All right. He said every man on the path needs the ability to retain his seed during sex. In other words, to achieve orgasm without ejaculation. This is a paramount.
I wonder
Every,
if I don't mean to cut you off, but I
no,
wonder, do it like, do men even know that they can have an orgasm without ejaculation, or do they just assume that in order for me to quote unquote come, I need to ejaculate? Like, you know what I mean?
right.
I I I
I
digress.
don't know. I don't know. I know some men are practicing now. This is another trend. Um, seed ejaculation, seed retention,
Hmm.
semen retention. Okay. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, I get it. Sometimes you just being pleasing to the woman. Only because me personally, and I'm gonna be personal here. Sometimes I finish first. And so I may or may not be able to move forward after that, you know. And
Hmm.
so some men are okay with that. They just want to make sure you're pleased. So I don't know, but just as a practice, I think we just don't need like we be doing going overboard because we still are here to populate the earth. Your seed is your legacy.
Hmm.
If you don't have enough children, that bloodline ends.
Right.
Period.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I'm not a man though. I don't know what it feels like to hold it in because what I was taught younger is that men catch blue balls.
Right. Right. I would. Yeah. Me too. Me
I'm
too.
from that generation.
Yeah. I mean, I wish we had a man on the platform that would definitely be able to answer that question because, you know, that I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, all the men took off running once we started reading the masculine version of the book. They was up in here for the feminine, so they could
Right.
add their little 2 cents. We got on the man book. They don't want to hear. Um, yeah. So I don't know how I feel about semen retention. I get it, but everybody,
Mm,
every man on the path should possess some basic skills at tantric projection or energy projection, the active aspect of tantra. And I speak on tantra all the time. So Tiara said that also when we talking about the food, that 3D printer meat, just how now they're printing these meats out, and you go into the restaurant thinking you getting a steak dinner, and
mm,
it's all a facade. It's
mm-hmm.
it's actually just 3D air.
Yeah.
Um, and that's what we headed. Okay, so sorry, y'all. A father or mother, if head of household, should not allow a young boy to leave their house and embark on his life until he is first equipped with these things. He will thank you for this later. A lot of men are stupid about life. They are not bad. They may be smart in school, have a high IQ, and perform well on tests, but fail at the test of life. They are just ignorant. No one has taught them yet, and there's no blame. Get them into the habit of researching life skills on their own. Get them into the habit of consulting reference materials before they make a decision or take an action. Information is power. I would suggest some books suitable for such a collection at the end of this book. Begin with this book, Awakening the Masculine Masculine. Men need other men for validation and support, but mainly they need other men to communicate with because the information men pass back and forth is vital. He should associate with other males with the same goal as himself who also seek to be superior men. Not all of these men need to be his peers. One male in their group should be an older male with some wisdom and experience. I'm not talking about friends or drinking buddies here. Actualized men means that they do stuff, not just talk about stuff and dream about life.
Mm-hmm.
If you intend to be a man of action, to make waves, to achieve goals, then you need to learn to hang out with men who already have those traits. You become what you see. Money is energy and is hard to obtain. Even more difficult is the management of the energy that comes with lots of money. While lots of money is good, lots of money and energy can be very dangerous. For this and other reasons, it is good policy to receive some portion of your income from a passive source. In other words, you do not need to work each day or each week to get it and change your money energy along with other reasons. Boundaries of the male. In their heart of hearts, men are born good. A lion is also born good, but that will not stop him from eating you. It is in his nature. Men are born with a blueprint that is designed to love and cherish women. All the things in that table they will grow up to do if society permits and they maintain a desire to become their true self. The truth is that few do. To some extent, they shape their fortune by their own will. Some are shaped by the will of others. Neither is good. My job is not to judge what you have become, it is to provide a vehicle for you to understand yourself. And if you desire to transform, that same vehicle will allow that too. The forces in society seeking to shape men wind up pounding men. And in the face of this pounding, some men become bitter, cynical, selfish, hurtful, and disillusioned. Men have boundaries. These boundaries are absolute in membrane. His boundaries are the boundaries. He likes what the energy likes. Remember, masculine energy is elemental. It is always the same energy no matter what container or vessel you put it in. In a male termite, the energy can only express a part of its nature. In a male human, it can express a lot more of its nature. The energy did not change. You are just seeing more of its characteristics. The characteristics were always there, but the other vessels were not capable of that level of expression. The eagle, hunter, warrior, and healer are the four categories of male energy. The male energy has a broad bandwidth of attributes, and the four categories are a way to measure what he is expressing at each stage of his development. Each archetype of energy is equal to a small spectrum of the masculine bandwidth. And so some elements of masculinity can be measured and categorized to the extent that you can accurately know what categories a man fits into. You can accurately predict how he will respond in a given situation. But this is not the only dimension to the male energy. Men live within an imaginary circle. The circle is their boundary. An important aspect of male energy is its relationship to boundaries. Men have a distinct relationship to boundaries. There's no equivalent in females. Males have a linear left brain posture that attaches relevance or lack of relevance to an action based on its position in respect to their boundaries. Things are either inside the boundary, outside the boundary, or they remain hidden from him. Outside the boundary is bad, inside the boundary is good. The male will act friendly and supportive to things inside the boundary. He is either indifferent or antagonistic to things outside the boundary. At puberty, each male begins to enforce his first primary boundary, his personal security space. This is a physical circle about 3 feet out from him. When other males enter this sacred space, he will push them out or relocate. From this point, the male begins to construct more boundaries. These boundaries are not physical but mental. Most men are walking around supporting 7 or 8 of these imaginary circles, their boundaries. The things to appreciate about boundaries are these: what happens to create these boundaries in the man's mind, and then what is the policy for allowing the boundary to be crossed. And I'm just gonna go back to the man, because when we dating men, it says they live within an imaginary circle. If you're a visual person, and the circle is their boundary. An important aspect of male energy in its relationship to boundaries. Men have a distinct relationship to boundaries. There's no equivalent in females. Male have a linear left brain posture that attaches relevance or lack of relevance to an action based on its position in respect to their boundaries. Things are either inside or outside of the boundary. Outside of the boundary or inside, or they just remain hidden from them. And he said outside is bad, inside the boundary is good. So that male will act friendly and supportive to things inside the boundary. And I went back to read this because for years I questioned why I had such resistance in my relationship. Why was there such a resistance to everything that I was bringing to the table? And it says the male will act friendly and supportive to the things inside the boundary. And he is either indifferent or antagonistic to things outside of the boundary. And so maybe I fell in that outside.
So wait a minute. So what's considered outside the boundary?
Um,
You say? Because I didn't hear what it.
it
I
did.
didn't.
It's probably gonna go into it next,
Oh,
because he said further on, he said the things to appreciate about boundaries are these: what happens to create these boundaries in a man's mind. And then my first thing is like, if you a male that didn't have a relationship with your mom, the
hmm,
first person a boy falls in love with is his mom, and then
yeah,
for a little girl it's their dad. That's their
yeah.
opposite. And so, and then it says, what is the policy for allowing the boundary to be crossed if they allow you to cross it? And so it says the stronger and more evolved man. Hold on. Okay. And it says, let me go back. At puberty, each male begins to enforce his first primary boundary with his personal security space. This is a physical circle about 3 feet out from him. When other males enter this sacred space, he will push them out or relocate them. This for the males. From this point, the male begins to construct more boundaries. These boundaries are not physical but mental. Most men are walking around supporting 7 to 8 of these imaginary circles, which is their boundaries, and the things to appreciate about the boundaries of these: what happens to create these boundaries in the man's mind, what is the policy for allowing the boundary to be crossed. The stronger and more evolved man is, the more rigid are his boundaries. Women by nature are boundary violators. And,
What?
every man should understand that, because folks be like, oh, well, she came in trying to push buttons just to see what kind of reaction. It's like, it's our nature to see what level we can take that thing to. And there's nothing wrong with that. We are boundary pushers because we literally want to be up under your skin. We want to feel protected.
Hmm.
I know I do. That's just me. I want to.
Me too. But you know what though? It could be the smallest thing, and it might not even be a boundary breaker. It's just that that man might be more feminine, and anything you say
Mm,
can be a boundary breaker.
mm-hmm. Yep. Well,
So,
any of those archetypes that didn't come online,
mhm.
will show up and say, but each man resist allowing his boundary to be violated if he can do so. In many cases, this is a matter of life or death. He will seek to kill you or hurt you for crossing his boundary without permission. Crossing the boundary with permission is a non event. In other words, it is okay and there is no reaction from the male. Women are often guilty of boundary violation without knowing that they have done so. Boundaries are created, they were not always present. Boundaries are almost always created by some agency outside of the man. Few individual men are evolved enough to create their own boundaries. Only AB men and BA men create their own boundaries. Sahu men, the juvenile men, have their boundaries created for them. They are not even aware. All boundaries are created from a simple idea. The idea says that if we separate some element from its whole, a great good will come from this. Or the idea that if we do not separate some element from its whole, something very bad will come from this. Yeah, it makes sense. Common boundaries involve personal property such as land or a car. The mental image of the boundary is stated outside the mind of the man so that others can know the boundary and respect it. This is a deed or title. The deed to the property says, this is my boundary, the imaginary line around this property map. Do not cross it without my permission. I love everything inside this line. I hate everything outside this line. There, then there are tribal type boundaries. The idea that creates these boundaries is still very simple, but it's made formal by incorporation. This incorporation is the formal statement of the boundary so that all the men inside the boundary know who they are, and and so they uh, this incorporation is the formal statement of the boundary so that all men inside the boundary know who they are, and so that all the men inside the boundary can recognize all the other people who remain outside the boundary. There's usually a ritual to go along with a tribal incorporation. Examples of the creation of these boundaries are the street gang, a sports team, a business firm that sells stock, a church, a franchise business, etc. To be considered a boundary, the protocols of the boundary need to be enforceable by law. In the case of a street gang, if the state will not honor its laws, it will make up its own and enforce them. Mm.
I get I women before you go on. I get the fact that there are boundaries, that the men have, and I do respect that. But um what about the women's boundaries? I mean, I know we haven't, finished this yet, but I'm just curious, um, what is the man's perspective on crossing the woman's boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's an equal give or take.
Mm-hmm.
So I just, you know, I'm just saying.
Yeah. For me, I didn't have boundaries put in place prior to getting to know myself and being in relationships. And so my boundaries was all often violated because I didn't make them clear. I didn't even know what
Mm-hmm.
boundaries were. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But then after placing the boundaries in place, I just feel like they're dismissed until you have to repeatedly say, no, this is a boundary. And this is what this is, and this is what it's gonna be. You're not allowed to keep, violating that. And that wrecks relationships too. To have to put boundaries in place after you're in it.
Right. Right.
Because there's no respect for them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know. Okay, so women think that they know men, but most really do not. In the case of the inferior man, the only things that are really important to him are the things inside his boundaries. Even food, sex, and money are not as important to him as the things inside of his boundaries. Money does not become critical to him until it is one of the activities of a corporation boundary. Only when it becomes important to his corporation does it take on extraordinary significance to him. A boy does not really care about grades in school unless and until the school is incorporated and he adapts this boundary. Unless the school becomes a tribal institution and admits him formally into its boundary, he will not be overly concerned with grades. If he is smart, he might make good grades, but it is not a priority. But the coach knows how to motivate a boy. A sports team is a formal tribal initiation for which he must try out and be accepted. It has a well defined boundary. In the games, each team has a territory and rules of engagement. There are uniforms to better establish the boundary. He loves everyone on his team and hates everyone on other teams. Most women think that by virtue of being in his family or being married to a man, that you are within one of his boundaries. Ooh, ooh. I hear some bubble busting finna come. Hold on. Yeah. You just assume just because he married you, you are within those boundaries. Let's see what it say. And they would be wrong. Okay. If families today operated like a farm or business, then the male might consider it a boundary. But most families today are not formal tribes. They're just people living in the same space. There's no mental boundary for the child to observe. There's no formal process of being received into a family, such as rites of passage. Therefore, when the men grow up, they just move away. There's no psychic connection to a boundary. In the old days, some men looked at marriage as a boundary, but that is no longer the case. When the no fault divorce laws and the family court system went into law, the institution of marriage changed for males. Understand that from a pure left brain male perspective, you cannot just dissolve a boundary by a petition to a lawyer. A contract is a contract. The boundary is sacred. A man will defend a rigid boundary to the death with the onset of common divorce in the United States. The common boundary that did exist around marriage as an institution was dissolved. In fact, many men see the woman coming into their home as an intrusion on their boundary.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. For about half the men today, the female mate is just a person who has permission to cross his physical boundary, nothing more. Ooh,
Whoa.
it's true.
Wow. Physical and nothing more?
And nothing more.
Mm.
She is not inside one of his mental boundaries unless she is a part of his gang, church, business, or team, etc. If the women were inside the male boundaries in the home, men would never hit or abuse them. That is against the code. Most men do not want to spend time with their wives to have fun. They want to spend time with other men who are within their boundary. The male has real allegiance and integrity only to people who are within his boundary with him. Are you starting to understand? So the questions a man must ask himself are these: what are my boundaries? Who created them for me? Does this boundary serve me or should I release it? The man brings things inside his boundary to fill his needs, such as food, water, and sex. But only the members of his tribe have a special place in his heart. Which side of his circle does he see in her? Is she on the side? Is she on the inside or the outside?
Wait a minute. No, just no. Go ahead.
What you gonna say?
These questions a woman asks about a man. Um, I don't know. Just never mind. Just go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay. So these are the questions a man must ask himself. And so it says, which side of his circle does he see her in? Is she on the inside or the outside? Most females would be surprised to know. Can she play by his rules? A woman really does not wish to be within the boundary of a man, especially a rigid boundary, unless she is willing to play by the rules. Bad things will follow. If a woman enters the boundary as a wife, if that becomes a sacred contract to the man, know that she can never break it. There is no divorce. He will never divorce you under those conditions. He will try to kill you, hurt you bad, or kill himself. That's deep in itself.
Whoa, whoa. That is very deep. So I wonder if you were to ask a man um, what his boundaries were. I wonder how they would respond to that answer. I think that is going to be a question that I throw in when I meet someone,
Hmm.
just to see how they respond.
I'm just stuck on the like
Mm,
inside and outside, and the part where he said he'll give you access to his physical, but nothing
right,
more.
right,
So you will be somebody he land with, but he'll
and
never really let in.
that's right.
And that's how I feel. That's how I felt for years, just trying to pull a vulnerable conversation out of somebody. I just realized like maybe I'm not a safe space, and it was odd because I'm a safe space for everybody, but in my relationship, I don't meet the qualifications to be a safe space for the
And that's what,
vulnerability.
and
Mm-hmm.
that's where it matters most to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Mm-hmm. And so yeah, that was deep. I didn't want to skip over. I wanted to highlight some stuff, but I don't forgot. You know.
That yeah, that's powerful. Um, yeah, just physical boundary and nothing more. Wow.
And then when he said most men do not want to spend time with their wives to have fun, that's another thing. Like now I know moving forward, if we can't have fun together, I can't do it. Because on the days where it gets hard and we can't even have fun, it's just like, yeah, I like having fun. I'm a savage. Like we like having fun generally.
Right. And
And so
it shouldn't just be about physical. Um, I think in order for a relationship or a marriage to be successful is you do have to go out and do things together as one.
yeah.
Because if you are married, you're one unit. So why is it that I'm good enough to just be physical by his words? Because we don't know, but this is it's just a lot.
Right, hold on. Pharaoh came to check me about some juice. He like, why did you drink my juice?
Oh
You
my
know,
God.
Okay, so it says, what else did he say? Her being there about the sex, and he also said that because I do be thinking like, okay, you get with other men, and then you could just it just go back to a conversation like a man can see another man going through whatever with they female partner, and he'll say, I can feel what he going through. But then you're with your woman and you never in however many years y'all done been together can feel what she's going through. And
Mm-hmm.
so this is just really, really explaining well what that is. Because we quick to be looking funny, like some ain't at the math ain't math.
Right.
But when you're talking boundaries, it's like you were never within that boundary. And it made me think like a whole stranger can be within that boundary, but just not me. And so yeah, these honey, these it's giving me red flags. But
Girl,
yeah,
I'm feeling some type of way. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm really feeling some type of way after reading this boundary
yeah, yeah,
section.
yeah, because it says that they'll give you access to sex, their body, but it'll never be
Mhm.
anything more than that. And it's just like I even went to say when we talk about women and violence in homes, it says that it happens because he never even allowed her into his boundary.
Right.
So a man will stay with you for however many years in the same household, but then you never been in that boundary. And women work hard to be in those boundaries. That's the other thing. We
Mm-hmm.
work hard to try to get to know our men and be
Yeah.
vulnerable and let them in. And so yeah, that's a whole disconnect for me.
Yeah.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so women, I think I'm here. Women do not respect boundaries, but men sure do.
What?
Fortunately, you know, you're so funny. Women do not respect boundaries, but men sure do. Fortunately, the boundaries of most men are not that rigid. But if this is a strong willed man and he has been saddled with a very rigid boundary, people better take care. The great male societies of the past were simple male boundaries connected to a religious theme. In the army, a man will often risk death rather than see the boundary of his unit violated. A man will risk death to defend his property. A member of a gang will kill to protect the gang. Some of the well known societies included the Gestapo SS of the Nazi and the samurai warriors of Japan and the braves of the Lakota Sioux war clan, the Asante man warriors of Asante Empire, the Knights Templar of Europe, the brutal Marmar revolutionaries of the Congo, or the order of the Jesuits of the 1600s. They all had a code of service based on incorporation within a strict boundary. Some of these orders of men had high ideals, others not so high. We may hate them or admire them, but we must recognize that the value of their boundary system. The blueprint of these boundaries was sheer genius, in each case, a diverse purpose. It is always easy to separate men and turn them against something. True greatness is the act of uniting men and having them to rally for something. This is much harder to do. Let me create a boundary. Hold on. My apologies. You got to create boundaries, okay? Now I do book club every Sunday. I had 2 Sundays to talk to me. You step back in this boundary. it's gonna be a problem. Okay. Now, um, this just makes me think of gang because we don't have now our tribes. They're kind of dispersed. So when you talk about gang culture, that is a place where men have formed boundaries and they're telling other gangs or whatever they can't. If you come in this area, there's gonna
Hmm.
be repercussions.
Right.
And so I look at that as family as well. It's like even the protection, you'll protect the family, but then that person that doesn't feel like they within that boundary, do they ever truly feel protected? Because I see a lot of women saying that they don't mind submitting. Submitting has never been the problem, but if you don't feel safe with that man,
Right.
then you'll never fully submit. And so, yeah, that's what it made me think about.
Hmm.
Okay. So, givers versus takers. We're going to bring it on home.
Let's go.
Hunters are takers, eagles are takers, warriors are givers, and healers are givers. Can you see that? The hunter must take in order to provide for his family. At the same time, there's always this balance in the relationship between male and female. The male is the head of the household, but even so, in some aspects, he is subordinate to the wife. The hunter may take from the outside world, but he turns around and gives this to the female treasure chest. He serves the treasure chest. The eagle extracts from the outside world, but in turn submits to the female seated hawk. He directs things step by step as he is implementing the plan of the seated hawk. He is in service to the seated hawk. On the other side, the moon archetype in the female submits to the warrior and serves him. The elegant rose delivers all her charm and pleasure to the healer. In a way, you could say she submits to him. There is a balance and a beauty there, or here. When it works properly, everybody gets exactly what they desire. Men want all the nurturing of the moon and the juicy pleasure from the elegant rose they can get. And the moon and elegant rose love to give it. The hunter likes to provide for the treasure chest. He takes pride in supplying all her needs and desires. This is not a chore for him. Men like to give the treasure chest what she demands. To the outside world, it appears the eagle is running things in the household, but the children and the close friends know that she, the seated hawk, is really the power behind the king. She sits upon the throne, hatching the overall plan like a queen bee. The seated hawk sets the guidelines, and the eagle must operate within them. There are checks and balance and give and take. Everybody has their lanes, and it's important for the man and woman to stay in their lanes. If they do this, then the relationship can work.
You know what? I must say this right here, this chapter right here that we just read, that boundary thing. I gotta I don't know. I'm feeling some type of way about that. That's
You
something I
still
gotta
ain't.
think about. I gotta think deep on that one.
Yeah. And then I'm just thinking about the last paragraph. It's just like, okay, so now you can identify what type of man you want. If you are a female that's out here hustling, um, and you need a healer to support that healer archetype might fit for that. It's not about everybody having it all. You just have to know what it is that you need and the type of man that you have. And sometimes, and in many cases, we done read these books and realized we really didn't have no blueprint for what we wanted from a relationship. So now you got to start from scratch, or you're gonna settle in an aspect in the one that you're in and try to bring out those other attributes in that person, whether it's male or female, the
Hmm.
archetypes in that person.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you do meet that first individual, you don't know if they're the healer, the ego, So that goes back to trying to ask all those questions to get to know the individual. Am I going to waste my time, or are you going to come up your true self? Are you going
Right,
to have that face on?
right. And me personally, at this point, I've just turned 42. I keep saying I'm finna be 42, child. The 42 done came. I'm not. I be forgetting I just had a birthday, but um, this is my first time in the first point in my life where I'm clear about what it is that I want from my relationships.
Mm-hmm.
Growing up, I used to just want a relationship because I didn't have a dad, and so I wanted that thing bad. And when it
Okay.
used to come upon me, I'm accepting any and everything because it's just masculine energy. And so now at 42, I can be a little more intentional because now I know myself a little bit better. I've been doing the work, working on the healing, and just being more intentional about what it is you want. I advise everybody to go through this book and get them archetypes. You can screenshot it in some of the previous videos.
Yes.
Um and just line out, map out what it is that you need from your relationship. If you need a man that's a little more healing, a little more sensitive, that's one thing. But if you want somebody that's a provider and that's gonna go out there and hunt, that's another archetype. And so we can't expect all our men to be all for it because we're not all for it. We read that in the feminine version of the book.
Right.
And so it's just growing pains and then acknowledging and knowing that you're not asking for too much when you do and when you are a bit able to identify what it is that you want, knowing that you're worthy of those things. You're
That's right.
not being too much, you're not asking for too much, and that it's okay to want specific things in your partnerships. It's okay
You
to
got to have
be.
that voice.
Yeah, yeah. In the beginning was the word. I be
Yeah.
telling people they be want to talk Bible, but they don't want to talk Bible. It's like if you're gonna use it, let's talk about
That's right. That's
it.
right.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about it. But yeah, just being more intentional. I came to a place, and I'm gonna be a little more. But I said I'm gonna start sharing my story, being a little more open. So here we are. This last past couple of weeks have been a lot. I don't know what energy we've been in, but baby, it's been kind of low energy vibes for me. And then I'm looking at where I am. I did not see myself at 42 being almost divorced or on my way to divorce or maybe ending up divorced. I just didn't see it. But again, when I look back at the 23-year-old me, nor did I see at that point myself being married. I had given up on the chances of being married.
Mm-hmm.
And then now at this age wanting another baby. That's another element. And then my cousin who works at a law firm had a lady walk into her office, 67 years old, 9 months pregnant. And so it's just little things and little acts of the universe that let you know nothing is impossible. There
Mm-hmm.
is
Right.
somebody for everybody.
That's
Okay.
right.
Don't let these people talk you out of your children, which is your legacy. Don't let them tell you it's a certain age or something gonna be wrong with your baby. That's a lie. Your genes and your DNA mature when you get older. And so most women that have children late, they babies and stuff be geniuses. They children be very mature. Now, I don't know how that affects the younger, because I was pregnant younger. But just at the end of the day, they put all these boundaries in boxes and you believe them mentally to be
Right.
true, and they're not. They're not. My cousin had twins over 42 and they are geniuses. When I say you'll be talking to them and be like, "Ooh, what's going on here?" Little creative minds.
Mm-hmm.
And see, they don't want you to know that. You gotta
Yeah.
study yourself. And so I encourage everybody to evaluate all your relationships, not just with the opposite sex, but your friendships and stuff like that.
Right.
And be more intentional. I right now manifested the group of women that I'm surrounding myself with by speaking. I want more support, more interaction, because at first I really wasn't on it. I wasn't. I would say just like with the men, I was just taking and receiving anything in friendships. And so you have to be more intentional with it all. At least I don't know what happened. Let me see. It's showing your picture spinning. Oh yeah. Oh, the computer died. Okay. So I'm gonna see if she's gonna hop back on here. But yeah, y'all stay encouraged. Like I said, this energy's been very heavy for me personally. And I've just been thinking back over my life, honestly. Think about all my decisions, how my decisions are going to affect or will, how they've affected me, and reevaluating, trying to get better with time. Let me see if she's coming back. And if not, we're gonna get out of here. Cause that's it, y'all. We just got through chapter, what is it? Chapter 15. The blueprint for success. Next week, we're gonna be on chapter 16. Raising children successfully. So yeah. And let me type that in the chat so it can flash on the screen while I wait. Chapter 16. Raising children su- successfully. Let me make sure I spelled that right, child. Issues is okay. So that'll be the next chapter next week. I'm trying to think. Let me see. Let me see if Lisa coming back. Okay. Bye. All right. So I think we're gonna get up out of here. Peace and power, everybody, and we're out.